High Admiral Vextra stood before the holographic display, his crystalline eyes reflecting the blue glow of Earth rotating beneath the cloaked Kraxan surveillance vessels. After 3 cycles of observation, the conclusion was undeniable: these humans were advancing too quickly. "Another breakthrough, Admiral," reported Science Officer Zyra, her tendrils twitching with concern. "They've achieved quantum stabilization in their fusion reactors. At this rate, they'll match our technology within decades," Vextra finished. The thought sent a chill through his metallic exoskeleton. The Kraxan Empire had ruled unchallenged for millennia, their biomechanical superiority crushing any species that dared to resist. But these humans were different. In just 2 centuries, they had progressed from primitive combustion engines to viable fusion power. Their AI systems were evolving at an alarming rate, and their military doctrine showed a cunning that made even veteran Kraxan commanders uneasy. "Their communication channels are fascinating," Zyra continued, bringing up intercepted transmissions. "They constantly share information, debate ideas, challenge authority. Their entire civilization seems built on constant innovation." Vextra watched footage of human warships conducting exercises near Mars. Their vessels were crude by Kraxan standards, but the tactics they employed were unlike anything in Imperial records. Instead of relying on brute force, the humans used complex formations, electronic warfare, and unpredictable maneuvers. "Most concerning is their unity in crisis," added strategic analyst Cord, his cybernetic implants processing vast amounts of historical data. When threatened, humans set aside their differences and fight with remarkable coordination. The last species that displayed such traits nearly defeated an Imperial battle fleet. The evidence was clear. Humanity would not be content to remain within their solar system. Soon they would expand, and their relentless drive to improve would eventually make them a threat to Kraxan dominance. The Empire had not survived for 20,000 years by ignoring such dangers. Vextra made his decision. "Prepare a comprehensive invasion plan. We will strike before they can fully develop their potential. Standard protocol, systematic elimination of military assets, followed by planetary occupation." "Admiral," Zyra hesitated, "preliminary analysis suggests humans may respond, unpredictably to invasion. Their historical records show Their historical records show primitive conflicts with primitive weapons," Vextra interrupted. "They have never faced the full might of the Empire. We will destroy their defenses, demonstrate our overwhelming power, and they will submit. As all others have." The command staff rushed to comply, but Zyra remained troubled. Something about these humans worried her. Their art, their music, their stories, all spoke of a species that refused to accept limitations, that thrived on overcoming impossible odds. As the invasion fleet assembled, Earth's defenders remained unaware of the approaching storm. But they were not unprepared. Years of studying mysterious signals from deep space had led humanity to develop contingency plans for extraterrestrial contact, including hostile scenarios. In secure facilities around the globe, advanced weapon systems stood ready. Quantum AI networks monitored the solar system for any sign of threat. And in hardened bunkers, military leaders reviewed and refined strategies for fighting a technologically superior enemy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the foundations of an empire and reveal humanity's true potential. Neither side yet realized that this conflict would change the galaxy forever. The Kraxan Empire had grown complacent in its power, believing its technological advantage made it invincible. They were about to learn that technology alone does not determine the outcome of war. Human ingenuity, adaptability, and sheer determination would prove to be far more potent weapons than any advanced alien battleship. As the invasion fleet made its final preparations, Admiral Vextra felt only confidence. Soon, these upstart humans would learn their place in the galaxy. But deep in his crystalline mind, a small voice whispered a warning, one he chose to ignore. The greatest error in war is underestimating your enemy, and the Kraxan Empire was about to make that mistake on a galactic scale. The first signs of the invasion came as subtle distortions in Earth's long-range sensors. Commander Elena Rodriguez, head of Earth's defense grid, recognized the pattern immediately. The quantum interference matched theoretical models of advanced cloaking technology. All stations, battle stations. This is not a drill, she announced, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Around the world, military installations hummed to life. Underground bases activated their defense systems, and orbital platforms quietly powered up their weapons. The Kraxan fleet materialized at the edge of the solar system, thousands of biomechanical warships emerging from hyperspace. Admiral Vextra surveyed the tactical display with satisfaction. Earth's primitive defenses would crumble before Imperial might. Begin the attack sequence, he ordered. Target their orbital installations first. But as the Kraxan ships approached Earth, they encountered something unexpected. The human satellites weren't just communication relays, they were networked weapon platforms. Quantum encrypted signals coordinated their response, making them nearly impossible to jam. The first wave of Kraxan destroyers came under immediate attack. Concentrated particle beams sliced through their advanced shields, exploiting weaknesses that shouldn't have been detectable. Human AI systems had analyzed the subtle distortions caused by the Kraxan cloaking technology and calculated vulnerable points in their defensive systems. Impossible. Vextra raged as reports of casualties flooded in. Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our shields. On Earth, Commander Rodriguez watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Years of preparing for this moment were paying off. The Quantum Defense Network, a system that linked every military asset on and around Earth into a single coordinated force, was proving its worth. Launch Operation Hydra, she commanded. From hidden bases across the solar system, swarms of autonomous fighter drones emerged. Unlike traditional military units, these were controlled by distributed AI systems that could adapt and evolve their tactics in real time. The Kraxan fleet found itself under attack from all directions. Their rigid command structure and predetermined battle plans proved inadequate against humanity's fluid, adaptive strategy. The humans seemed to anticipate their every move, countering Imperial tactics before they could be fully implemented. "They're in our systems," reported a panicked Kraxan officer. "Their AI is breaching our cybernetic defenses." This was humanity's secret weapon. While the Kraxan relied on their technological superiority, humans had developed AI systems specifically designed to exploit the weaknesses in advanced alien technology. The more complex the system, the more vulnerabilities it contained. Vextra watched in horror as his supposedly invincible fleet was systematically dismantled. Human weapons might be less advanced, but they were employed with devastating precision. Each shot counted, each strategy served multiple purposes. "Full retreat," he finally ordered, his pride shattered. "We cannot sustain these losses." As the surviving Kraxan ships fled, they received a transmission from Earth. Commander Rodriguez's voice was calm but carried an unmistakable warning: this was just our defensive capability. Imagine what will happen if you force us to take the fight to you. The defeat sent shockwaves through the Kraxan Empire. For the first time in their long history, they had not just failed to conquer a species, they had been decisively beaten. The humans had proven themselves far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. In the aftermath, Zyra reviewed the battle data with growing concern. The humans hadn't just defeated them, they had done so while revealing only a fraction of their true capabilities. Their defense had been precisely calculated to achieve victory while keeping their most advanced technology hidden. "They were ready for us," she reported to the Imperial Council. "Not just ready, they were waiting. Every countermeasure was perfectly designed to exploit our weaknesses. They knew we were coming, knew how we would attack, and prepared accordingly." The implications were clear: humanity was not just another primitive species to be conquered. They were a force that could challenge the Empire's dominance of the galaxy. And now, they had been given reason to do exactly that. The Kraxan Empire had never experienced defeat in their 1,000-year history. Now, they faced something even more terrifying, humanity taking the offensive. Commander Rodriguez stood before the United Earth Council, presenting the battle plan that would change the course of the war. The Kraxan expect us to stay defensive. Their entire strategic doctrine is based on the assumption that less advanced species can't project power across interstellar distances. We're going to prove them wrong. Operation Lightning Strike was unprecedented in scope. Humanity had secretly developed quantum jump technology that didn't require the massive energy signatures of Kraxan hyperdrives. Their ships could appear anywhere in enemy space, strike hard, and vanish before the Empire could respond. Admiral Marcus Chen, commander of Earth's first strike fleet, led the initial assault. His flagship, the EFS Prometheus, emerged from quantum space deep in Kraxan territory. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta. Remember, we're not here to hold territory. Hit their command and control nodes, then disappear. The human fleet struck like ghosts, targeting key military installations across 3 star systems simultaneously. Their ships were smaller than Kraxan vessels but packed with experimental weapons specifically designed to exploit Imperial weaknesses. Quantum AI systems predicted and countered enemy movements before they happened. On the Kraxan throne world, Emperor Zexthor raged at his military commanders. How are they doing this? Where are they coming from? The Empire's mighty defense grid, designed to stop conventional attacks, proved useless against humanity's quantum warfare tactics. But the humans weren't just targeting military assets. Special operations teams, enhanced with advanced biotech and neural interfaces, infiltrated Kraxan research facilities. They didn't just destroy, they stole, analyzed, and improved upon Imperial technology. Their adaptation rate is impossible, reported Imperial scientist Krau. Every time we develop a countermeasure, they've already prepared for it. It's as if they can see our future moves. The truth was even more disturbing. Humanity had developed quantum prediction engines, AI systems that could model possible futures with unprecedented accuracy. Every human strike was optimized for maximum strategic impact with minimal casualties. During one particularly daring raid, Captain Maya Patel led a small team into the heart of a Kraxan shipyard. Instead of destroying it, they reprogrammed the automated construction systems. For weeks afterward, every ship built there contained hidden vulnerabilities that human forces could exploit. The Empire's response was predictable: they massed their fleets, fortified their core worlds, and prepared for a major human assault. But that's not what humanity had planned. The Kraxan think in terms of territory and conquest, Rodriguez explained to her officers. We're not fighting that kind of war. We're systematically dismantling their ability to wage war at all. The human strikes continued, each one precisely calculated for psychological as well as military impact. Imperial commanders began to hesitate, second-guessing their orders, worried that every decision played into human hands. Then came the masterstroke. Using knowledge gained from captured Kraxan databases, human forces located the Empire's primary AI coordination hub. The facility was supposedly impregnable, protected by layered defenses and an entire battle fleet. Admiral Chen led the attack personally. All ships, execute Operation Checkmate. The human fleet appeared simultaneously at 12 different points around the target. As the Kraxan defenders split their forces to respond, the real attack came from an unexpected 13th vector. Elite human commandos, their minds linked to advanced combat AIs, breached the facility's defenses. They didn't destroy the hub, they reprogrammed it, introducing subtle errors into the Empire's entire command and control network. The aftermath was devastating. Kraxan ships received conflicting orders. Defense systems activated against phantom threats. The mighty Imperial war machine began to tear itself apart from the inside. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zexthor received a simple message: your empire was built on technological superiority. We've taken that away. Shall we discuss terms, or would you prefer to see what else humanity can do? The message was clear: humanity wasn't interested in conquest or destruction. They wanted to ensure their security and independence. But they had demonstrated, beyond any doubt, that they could dismantle the empire piece by piece if forced to continue. The imperial palace on Kraxin Prime had stood unconquered for 10,000 years. Its quantum shields and reality-warping defenses had repelled countless attacks. But they had never faced anything like humanity's final strike force. Admiral Chen's fleet materialized inside the capital system's defense perimeter, using calculations so precise they emerged between the pulses of Kraxin's scanning beams. Leading the assault was the newly commissioned EFS Nemesis, a ship that incorporated everything humanity had learned about Kraxin technology. Emperor Zexthor watched in disbelief as human forces systematically dismantled his last line of defense. Their ships moved with impossible precision, every action coordinated by AI systems that could process combat decisions in microseconds. "Your Majesty," his chief advisor urged, "we must evacuate. The humans have breached the inner sanctum." But Zexthor refused to run. Pride and tradition demanded he face this threat as his ancestors would have. "Activate the Guardian protocols," he commanded. Ancient weapons, sealed away for millennia, hummed to life throughout the palace complex. The humans, however, had anticipated this. Their quantum prediction engines had modeled every possible Kraxin response, including the use of forbidden weapons. As automated defense systems activated, they found their control networks already compromised. Captain Maya Patel led the ground assault team. Her soldiers moved like shadows through the palace corridors, their neural-linked combat suits allowing them to react faster than any organic being. They didn't fight the palace defenses, they subverted them. "Target acquired," Patel reported as her team reached the palace's central control nexus. Beginning final phase. The Emperor's elite guard rushed to intercept them, but found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. Human combat AIs had analyzed centuries of Kraxin martial arts data, developing perfect counters to their fighting styles. In orbit, Admiral Chen's forces had achieved total space superiority. The remaining Kraxin ships, their command networks in chaos, could only watch as human vessels positioned themselves around their capital world. "Your empire was built on the assumption of absolute technological superiority," Chen's message echoed through every Kraxin communication channel. "That age is over. Surrender now, or watch as we dismantle everything you've built, piece by piece." In the throne room, Emperor Zexthor faced the inevitable. His mighty empire, which had dominated the galaxy through technological supremacy, had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive mere months ago. Captain Patel's team breached the final defenses, entering the throne room not with weapons drawn, but carrying terms of surrender. The message was clear: humanity didn't want to destroy the Kraxin Empire, only to ensure it would never threaten Earth again. "You could have annihilated us," Zexthor observed, studying the humans before him. "Why didn't you?" "Because that's not who we are," Patel replied. "We fight when we must, but we prefer to make allies rather than destroy potential friends. The galaxy is vast enough for both our peoples to prosper." The terms were surprisingly generous. The Empire would survive, but would have to accept strict limitations on military technology and agree to joint scientific ventures with Earth. Most importantly, they would have to acknowledge humanity as equals, not subjects. As the Emperor considered these terms, human ships throughout the system maintained their positions, a silent reminder of how completely they had mastered Kraxin technology. The choice was clear: adapt or face extinction. "Perhaps," Zexthor said finally, "we have something to learn from humanity after all. The ability to show mercy to a defeated enemy may be an even greater strength than technological superiority." The war that had begun with an attempt to subjugate humanity ended with the transformation of galactic civilization. The Kraxin would learn to innovate rather than dominate, to collaborate rather than conquer. And humanity had proven that determination, creativity, and the willingness to evolve were the true measures of a species' worth. 5 years after the surrender of the Kraxan Empire, the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. The Great Hall of Cooperation on Earth hosted its first interstellar summit, with representatives from both civilizations working together to forge a new future. Commander Rodriguez, now Earth's ambassador to the Kraxan, stood beside Emperor Zexthor as they inaugurated the joint scientific initiative. The program would combine human innovation with Kraxan technical expertise, advancing both civilizations far beyond what either could achieve alone. The greatest victory, Rodriguez addressed the assembled delegates, isn't winning a war, but preventing the next one. Today, we're not just allies, we're partners in exploration and discovery. The changes were visible everywhere. Kraxan cities, once cold monuments to power, now buzzed with human-inspired innovation centers. Their rigid social hierarchy had given way to a more dynamic system that rewarded creativity and initiative. Young Kraxan, inspired by human examples, began questioning traditional limitations and pushing boundaries. Admiral Chen, leading the combined fleet exercises, watched with pride as human and Kraxan ships maneuvered in perfect coordination. "They've learned to think creatively," he noted to Captain Patel, who now commanded the joint training program. "And we've learned the value of their disciplined approach." The Empire's former research facilities had been transformed into collaborative institutions. Human AI systems worked alongside Kraxan biotechnology experts, creating breakthroughs that benefited both species. The feared Imperial war machine had become an engine of progress and discovery. But perhaps the most profound change was in the Kraxan themselves. Emperor Zexthor, once the embodiment of imperial pride, had become an advocate for cultural exchange. "Our greatest mistake," he often said, "was believing that advancement only moved in one direction. Humanity showed us that true strength lies in adaptation and growth." The quantum prediction engines that had helped win the war now served peaceful purposes, helping both civilizations navigate potential futures. They showed clearly that cooperation led to greater achievements than conquest ever could. Deep space exploration flourished under the new partnership. Human ingenuity combined with Kraxan resources pushed the boundaries of known space. New worlds were discovered, new species contacted, this time with diplomatic missions rather than invasion fleets. In the Academy of Cultural Integration on Kraxan Prime, human and Kraxan students studied together, each learning from the other's perspective. The rigid patterns of imperial thought gave way to vibrant debates and exchanges of ideas. Art, music, and literature flourished as both cultures influenced each other. "We stood at a crossroads," Ambassador Rodriguez reflected during the 5th anniversary celebrations. "We could have destroyed the empire, but instead we chose to help transform it. In doing so, we transformed ourselves." The galaxy watched as this unprecedented partnership yielded results beyond anyone's expectations. Other species, long intimidated by imperial power, began reaching out to the new alliance. A new age of exploration and cooperation had begun. Emperor Zexthor, addressing the final session of the summit, summed up the journey. 5 years ago, we learned that true power lies not in domination, but in the ability to change and grow. Humanity didn't just defeat us, they showed us a better way forward. Together, we're building something greater than any empire, a future without limits. As the ceremony concluded, ships from both civilizations launched into space, no longer as enemies or rivals, but as partners in the greatest adventure of all, the peaceful exploration of the galaxy. The war that had begun with an attempt to crush humanity had instead given birth to an era of unprecedented progress and hope.